right, guys, welcome back to Veterans View News Network. What I wanted to cover tonight, it's going to be a kind of deep topic, and it's going to be on how we can modify our mindset, not only for 2021, but also moving forward. Now, full upfront disclosure, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist. All I am is a dude on YouTube who's got his own life experience coupled with research that I've done, specifically since I have PTSD. There are a lot of issues that can come with, certain mindsets and whatnot moving forward that have led me to doing this research and trying to learn. And I think this can be a huge, huge part of what we can work on and how we can start implementing better behaviors. But in order to do that, we actually need to really be able to understand the underlying causes of our mindset. So just kind of jumping right in, the first thing I would like to start with is, are you a positive person? Like, are you an optimistic person? Do you believe that there are going to be good things that come in the future and you have a positive view of things moving forward? Or are you a negative mindset individual or a pessimist, somebody who always finds the negative? Both of these, not that necessarily one is better than the other, but if you're trying to work on modifying the mindset, then you have to be willing to be open to thinking outside the box and looking at some of these things. So being an optimistic person in terms of working on your mindset is going to make things a little bit easier than if you are a pessimistic person. Because by nature, as a pessimistic person, you may be viewing all the steps that you would need to take, the process you would have to go through, and you may just throw in the towel right at the beginning because you're going to say things like, this isn't going to work, I'm not going to try that, that's too much work, I don't have time for this. We can all make every excuse under the sun to try and deflect from working on something that can be very beneficial to us. So kind of going into it, do you know, so this is for positive and negative. So if you're a positive person or if you are a negative person, you should ask yourself these questions and try and see if you can hone in on what the underlying issue is. So to start, do you know what is causing this issue? If you don't know, then you can move forward and ask yourself some of these questions. Does the mindset issue have to do with your place of employment? Is something going on at your job that is so detrimental to your mindset and your mental health that it's causing you to view life in a particular way? Is it your partner or your spouse who is causing this? I know for a lot of people, especially going through the pandemic, and a lot of people working from home and whatnot, and I talked about this in some of my previous videos, they were around their partner or spouse or significant other a lot more than they were used to being around them. And for a lot of people, that can be very challenging. That was challenging for me. So I'm not trying to throw stones at anybody. If that's you, own it, because that's what I've had to do. Could it be that you are single and you're yearning for a partner or a spouse? Is it your children that are the cause of this mindset? Once again, this was another very difficult one for me here, especially since I was in the Army. I have this view, if somebody tells me to do something, unless it's illegal, immoral, or unethical, there's an expectation that I will do it without questioning them. And even though I've been out of the Army now this is going on 5 years, that mindset that I had from that time that I was in has been very hard for me to break. And a lot of times it just takes, being able to step back and say, look, these are kids. They're not adults. They are still trying to figure their own emotions out. They don't know what they're thinking in their own mind half the time. I mean, if you or I can't, if somebody says, hey, what's wrong? And we as an adult can't even give them an answer, how do we expect a kid to be able to do that when we don't even expect that of ourselves? So it's just something to think about. Is it friends or family that are causing this issue? And this could be, if it's friends, are they maybe involved in some particular type of activity that you don't approve of, but they're your friends, so you're worried about being viewed as an outcast, or, you've known these people all your life, so you're just going to continue to associate yourself with them, but it's not the right thing to do. Is it your family? Does your family maybe not approve of your lifestyle? Do they maybe not approve of your partner or your significant other or your spouse? Do they not approve of something that's going on in your life? And because of that, if you are close with your family, that is going to affect you. Did something happen to you? Whether it be as a child, did you experience some type of trauma? And now as an adult, you continuously have this view that something's going to happen again, or was it my fault? Did I do something I shouldn't have done? Did I wear something I shouldn't have worn? Stuff like that, which are very simple questions, but a lot of times it just takes us having the courage to ask ourselves, is this something that happened to me? So like for me with PTSD, I observed somebody. So when I was on my deployment to Afghanistan, I observed somebody on Christmas in 2010. They got hit with a mortar. So a mortar, imagine, is I'll put a picture up on screen so you guys can kind of get a visual of it. But it's got a propellant. They're able to launch these, and they have an explosive warhead on the front of them. And on impact, they blow up. So there was an individual, I was walking into work that night. There was an individual, they launched a bunch of mortars at us on Christmas. They knew we were celebrating Christmas. And he got hit directly and blew him up. And he was married and had 2 children. And the thing for me that I always struggled with was, a lot of those thoughts. Was there something I could have done, that should have been me? All these kind of things, they are important, but they also can lead to you having a particular type of mindset. Now, a lot of these things, you're not going to be able to fix it 100%. But if you're willing to look at them in the face for what they are and actually address them and ask yourself, you can at least make progress in the right direction. And I feel like that's kind of what's really, really important here is with this whole process, baby steps, small changes in our lives. This could have a drastic impact on your life 5 to 10 years from now. If you just do a little bit now and you continuously do a little bit, you could be a totally different person. Is it some type of chemical imbalance? Are you bipolar or, schizophrenic or borderline schizophrenic or borderline bipolar? Do you have some type of chemical imbalance that maybe causes you to have lower levels of serotonin and lower levels of different chemicals that are the natural feel-good hormone? With stuff like that, a lot of people can take different types of medications and whatnot for that. But that's also just kind of one of the questions, you may need to ask yourself, and then also, talk to your doctor about, so they could kind of see, if this is the case or not. After how 2020 went, a lot of people are struggling and are suffering. People lost their jobs, people lost their businesses, people lost their livelihoods. They drained every penny that they had in savings. They feel like they have lost everything. And there are a lot of people who are in a very hopeless state right now. And if that's you watching this, please do something about it. I was in that same boat. I lost my job. I was making good money. Everything was going for me. Good friends, family was healthy, kids in sports, I was healthy. Everything was on the up and up. And lost my job, a series of things. I gained weight because I started eating unhealthy. I started having a negative mindset. And I'm a very positive person. I'm a very optimistic person. So that was an alien feeling for me. But still, my whole life, I went 29 years as a positive person. It only took a couple experiences for me to start being a negative person. So this is something that needs to constantly be worked on, and stuff that you need to constantly be checking in with yourself, but also checking in with the people around you to see if they're noticing any differences in your behavior, in your mood, how things are going. This is very important. And I know this kind of stuff is going to be difficult. I mean, it's difficult for me to get on camera here and talk about it because I don't know who's watching. And I think this is one of those things, like, as I film this, I'm already starting to feel better because I know there are people who are going to be able to utilize this information and hopefully help themselves kind of change course, modify their trajectory so they can start getting back on a positive path and looking at those opportunities that exist out there instead of sitting back being down on yourself. I mean, for me, I have every reason in the book to be down on myself with what I experienced, but I have people who rely on me. I have to rely on myself, and I've asked myself this series of questions. And I had to go through, and I was able to figure out what led to me feeling the way that I was. And given especially that I have PTSD, I'm never going to be able to fix that 100%. But there are things I can do to make it easier to manage and to also be able to do that without needing to be medicated, which can, cause a whole slurry of other issues. And then once you've identified it, kind of like I mentioned, and it could be a number of things. It doesn't just have to be one thing. It could just be one thing, but it could be a combination of things. And what you want to do, you want to target each of these. If it's a combination, you want to target each of these on their own. So you want to take one, say it's your place of employment. And then also say it's your place of employment, but then it's also your kids at home. And then say it's also your spouse. Well, if you were to go in and tell your boss, put in your 2 weeks and quit, now you're going to be at home. So you've solved one problem, yeah. But now you're at home with the other two problems, and you haven't given yourself the tools to be able to handle and manage those problems yet. So that's something we need to think about. You want to focus on these one at a time, but you also want to be making these modifications to the other two. And you want to be ensuring you're doing it in the correct order. So for instance, in that previous situation, if you honed in on, your job, your partner, and your kids, say you started with your partner and you were working on that, once you and your partner or spouse can get on a firm footing and things are going okay, then you can work on the issues with the kids, because then at least you and your spouse or partner will be on the same page. Then once you get those things done with your kids, then you can handle the job. So just some things to think about, guys. I truly hope this information, you guys can use for the better. As always, if you guys like this content, please hit the like button. That is the best thing you can do to help a channel grow. Helps with the YouTube algorithm, tells YouTube that this is good content other people should see. Also, please subscribe to my channel. That's greatly appreciated as well. And then also, turn on notifications. I'm posting videos every single day. I've got my channel or my video breakdown on the About section on my YouTube page, so you'll know on a daily basis what I am going to be discussing. So yeah, I mean, really, that's it, guys. Just, really kind of take a step back. For anybody who subscribes to my channel, in the community section, I'm actually going to be posting a picture of these questions, of the exact things that you can do, and then you can start attacking them. So that's going to be in the community tab on my YouTube channel. I'll get that uploaded tonight. So with that, guys, as always, thank you for checking out my video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.